5 narcissistic mind games that slowly destroy your reality. Have you ever felt like you were losing your grip on reality, questioning memories that you absolutely know happened, or constantly feeling like you are the problematic one in a relationship? If you've spent countless nights staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations, and wondering if maybe, just maybe, you're actually too sensitive, too demanding, or simply crazy, then stop right there. That churning confusion is not accidental. It's a carefully engineered chaos, a smokescreen designed to keep you trapped, docile, and readily available for emotional manipulation. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the hidden playbook, the 5 most sinister mind games that narcissists use to systematically dismantle your self-worth and control your entire world. Get ready to finally see the truth. Hello everyone, and welcome back. I know this topic is heavy, but recognizing these patterns is the first, most crucial step toward freedom and healing. We're diving deep into the psychology of manipulation, uncovering the subtle yet devastating tactics that make you feel like you are walking on eggshells all the time. Narcissists don't fight fair. They don't argue with logic or facts. They fight dirty, relying entirely on emotional warfare and psychological sabotage. They need to maintain total dominance and control over their environment, and the easiest way to do that is by destabilizing the one person they need the most: you, their primary source of supply. Once you understand the mechanics of their games, you can stop playing, and that, my friends, changes everything. The reason these games are so effective is that they prey on the fundamental human need for connection, validation, and stability. When you are deeply invested in someone, whether they are a partner, a parent, a boss, or a friend, your brain naturally seeks to rationalize their behavior, even when that behavior is deeply abusive. The narcissist knows this vulnerability exists. They exploit your empathy, your kindness, and your willingness to compromise, turning these beautiful traits into weapons against you. They leverage your fear of abandonment and your inherent desire to make things work, slowly eroding your boundaries until you can no longer recognize the line between reality and their fabricated narrative. It's truly terrifying when you break it down like this. Remember that a narcissist's entire sense of self is built on a fragile, hollow foundation. To protect that foundation, they must project an image of perfection, superiority, and entitlement at all costs. Anything that threatens this flawless facade must be annihilated, and usually the person bringing the discomfort, the person pointing out reality, is you. Therefore, these mind games are not just mean-spirited actions. They are defensive maneuvers designed to deflect responsibility and maintain their delusion of grandeur. Understanding that their manipulation stems from their own deep-seated insecurity, not necessarily a flaw in you, is paramount to reclaiming your power. We are starting with the ultimate mind twist, the absolute classic, the cornerstone of narcissistic abuse, which is game number 1, gaslighting. If you've heard this term before, you know how insidious it is, but let's break down exactly what it feels like. Gaslighting is the calculated attempt to make you doubt your own perceptions, memory, and sanity. The narcissist will vehemently deny saying something you vividly remember them saying, insist an event never happened when you were both present, or accuse you of being paranoid when you bring up a genuine concern. It's a psychological slow burn that ultimately leads you to believe that your reality is faulty and that you cannot trust your own mind. Think about a moment when you brought up a feeling, saying, "I felt hurt when you ignored my text." And the narcissist responded, "I never ignore you. You're imagining things. Why are you always making up drama?" They don't just deny the action. They flip the script and attack your perception of the action, painting you as hysterical or overly sensitive. This tactic is so damaging because our sense of reality is the bedrock of our identity. When that bedrock is shaken, the entire house of self-confidence collapses. After repeated exposure to gaslighting, you start preemptively editing your thoughts, thinking, maybe they're right, maybe I am too much. The genius and cruelty of gaslighting lie in its cumulative effect. It's not just one instance, it's a constant drip, drip, drip of denial and invalidation over time. You might start hiding evidence, keeping secret journals, or taking screenshots just to prove to yourself that you aren't crazy. An activity that healthy people simply don't need to do in a loving relationship. This endless self-interrogation means that the narcissist doesn't even need to be present to control you. You've internalized their voice, and you are now gaslighting yourself on their behalf. This is the moment when the control mechanism becomes truly self-sustaining, making the path to escape feel impossible and isolating. To combat gaslighting, you have to find an external anchor for reality. Start talking to trusted friends or family members who remember you before the relationship became toxic. Rely on tangible evidence, and most importantly, practice radical self-trust. If a memory feels real to you, if an emotion is bubbling up inside of you, honor it. You are not required to adopt their version of events just to keep the peace. When they deny something, simply state, "That is how I remember it," or "My experience of that event was different," and refuse to engage in the circular argument. Refusing to argue their reality is the only way to win this twisted game. Moving on, let's discuss game number 2, which is arguably the most complex and destabilizing in a social context: triangulation. This game involves introducing a third party, real or imagined, into the relationship dynamic to manage the narcissist's own ego and control the original victim. This third party could be an ex-partner, a new potential romantic interest, a family member who blindly supports them, or even a friend who is unaware of the abuse. The goal is simple: to create insecurity, competition, and chaos, ensuring that the victim's attention remains fixed entirely on the narcissist, perpetually seeking their approval. Triangulation works by creating a constant sense of fear that you are replaceable. The narcissist might constantly praise the perfect qualities of their ex in front of you, or flirt openly with someone else, or perhaps play two family members off against each other by sharing secrets or distorting information, ensuring neither of them trusts the other. They love to sit back and watch the ensuing drama, because the moment you start feeling jealous, insecure, or desperate to win them back, their ego is fed, and their control over you is reaffirmed. They become the coveted prize, the central source of validation that everyone is vying for. Imagine trying to resolve a conflict, and the narcissist says, "Well, my last partner never had a problem with my schedule. Why are you so demanding?" This is triangulation in action. They are using the phantom third party not just to make you feel bad, but to invalidate your very needs. They pit you against a ghost, forcing you to try harder to meet an impossible standard. This tactic guarantees that you focus your energy outward, obsessing over the competitor, instead of focusing inward on the toxic patterns of the relationship itself. It's a masterclass in distraction and emotional deflection. How do you beat triangulation? By refusing to join the triangle. When the narcissist attempts to introduce a third party to manipulate your feelings, you must mentally step outside the competition. If they mention the perfect ex, your response needs to be internally detached. "That sounds like a great person, but I am talking about our dynamic now." Do not seek validation by trying to prove you are better than the third party. Your worth is inherent and does not depend on being chosen or preferred by the narcissist. Once you remove yourself from the running, The narcissist loses the competitive edge they rely on to maintain their sense of superiority. Now we arrive at game number 3, and this one is utterly exhausting. Projection. This is perhaps the most confusing game because it flips the roles of victim and perpetrator so aggressively that you often feel like you're the one who needs to apologize, even when you've done nothing wrong. Projection is when the narcissist takes their own unacceptable flaws, feelings, or actions and assigns them to you. If they are cheating, they accuse you of cheating. If they are angry and resentful, they accuse you of being angry and resentful. Their defense mechanism is simple. If they can successfully convince you that you are the problem, they never have to confront their own ugly truths. The classic example of projection is when a narcissist is being utterly selfish and manipulative, but instead of owning it, they look you straight in the eye and say, "You are so selfish. You only ever think about yourself." Suddenly, you are defending yourself against an accusation that originated entirely within them. You are wasting energy trying to prove you are not selfish, rather than focusing on the actual issue, which is their lack of consideration. This game is incredibly disorienting because you spend all your time on defense, constantly trying to dispel falsehoods that were never true to begin with. This cycle of projection is a primary reason why victims of narcissistic abuse often develop profound feelings of guilt and shame. You are constantly being told you are defective, dishonest, or abusive, and even if you logically know it isn't true, the constant barrage wears down your emotional resistance. They make you carry their baggage, their inadequacy, and their failures. When they blame you for their job loss or their failed friendships, they are successfully projecting their incompetence onto your perceived lack of support. It's a heavy burden to bear, and recognizing it as projection is essential for dropping that weight. The key to resisting projection is radical non-agreement. When the narcissist attempts to transfer their toxic feelings onto you, do not engage in the debate over whether or not you possess that flaw. Do not try to defend your character. Instead, simply observe the projection for what it is and maintain your internal truth. A calm response like, "I am not responsible for your feelings," or "That is your perception, not reality," can be a powerful boundary. You are refusing to catch the garbage they are throwing at you, forcing them to hold on to their own mess, which they absolutely despise doing. Let's shift to the dynamics of control and addiction with game number 4, intermittent reinforcement. This term sounds technical, but emotionally, it is the hot and cold cycle that creates the trauma bond, keeping you hooked like an addict desperate for a fix. Intermittent reinforcement is when the abuse is mixed unexpectedly with moments of intense love, charm, or kindness, the good times. Just when you are ready to leave, ready to admit the relationship is terrible, the narcissist reverts, offering a glimpse of the loving person they were in the beginning, or perhaps the person you desperately wish they could be. These brief bursts of positive attention, the sudden compliment, the thoughtful gift, the apologies that sound genuine, but are quickly followed by more abuse, are highly addictive. Because the rewards are unpredictable, your brain stays in a constant state of hypervigilance, hoping and waiting for the next positive interaction. This creates a powerful cycle where you tolerate long periods of neglect or abuse, just for that fleeting moment of validation. It is exactly how slot machines are designed. The unpredictable reward keeps the user pulling the lever, even when they are losing everything. The danger of intermittent reinforcement is that it clouds your judgment and warps your understanding of what true, consistent love looks like. You start to believe that those rare, good moments define the relationship, and the abuse is merely a temporary setback. You think, "They were so sweet yesterday. If I can just be better, we can get back to that." completely ignoring the 90% of the time spent in misery. This technique keeps you tethered to the hope that the person you fell in love with still exists underneath all the toxicity, making the eventual act of leaving feel like a profound failure on your part. To break the trauma bond created by this game, you must focus on consistency, not intensity. Healthy love is predictable, reliable, and fundamentally kind every single day. The highs and lows of intermittent reinforcement are emotional whiplash, not passion. Write down how you feel during the bad times and hold on to that evidence. When the narcissist tries to lure you back with charm, remind yourself that the charm is merely a temporary tactic to reset the cycle of abuse, not a genuine shift in their character. Freedom comes when you stop waiting for the reward that rarely arrives. Finally, we arrive at game number 5, hoovering. Picture a vacuum cleaner, or hoover, hence the name, sucking dust back in. Hoovering is the narcissist's attempt to pull you back into the relationship after you have successfully escaped or after they have discarded you and found their supply running low. This usually happens when they sense you are moving on, becoming happy, or when their new source of supply has inevitably failed to meet their inflated demands. The narcissist cannot tolerate the thought of you being happy or thriving without them. Hoovering manifests in many sneaky ways. It could be a sudden, heartbreaking text on your birthday, a tearful apology promising radical change, or even contacting your family members with fake concern. They might use shared memories or claim they are facing a crisis and only you can help them. The tactics are calculated to press on your most vulnerable points, your empathy, your guilt, or your nostalgia for the relationship's beautiful, albeit fake, beginning. They know exactly which emotional buttons to push to get you to open the door just a crack. Understand that hoovering is purely transactional. They are not coming back because they genuinely realized their mistakes or because they love you and missed you as a person. They are coming back because they need supply, and you are a known, reliable source of validation, attention, or comfort. Allowing them back in, even for a conversation, instantly resets the trauma bond and destroys all the hard-won emotional progress you've made since leaving. It's the final, desperate trap to ensure their ego is continuously fed, regardless of your well-being. The single most effective way to defeat hoovering is absolute no contact. This means blocking them everywhere: phone, email, social media, and even asking mutual friends not to pass along information. You must treat their attempts to re-enter your life like a contagious disease. Even a tiny exposure can lead to a full relapse. Every time you are tempted to respond, remember why you left. Remember the confusion, the pain, and the loss of self you endured while you were under their spell. Your peace is non-negotiable, and their desperate plea is just another lie. By recognizing these 5 mind games, gaslighting, triangulation, projection, intermittent reinforcement, and hoovering, you gain the emotional blueprint to dismantle their power structure. Knowledge is truly your armor here. You are not crazy, you are not too sensitive, and your memories are valid. You were simply dealing with an expert manipulator who utilized psychological warfare to keep you off balance. This realization should not lead to despair, but to massive, empowering clarity. It's time to stop playing by their rules and start writing your own recovery story. Healing isn't linear, and there will be tough days, but every single day you choose your sanity over their drama is a huge victory. Trust your gut, surround yourself with people who validate your reality, and embrace the beautiful, authentic person you are outside of their toxic influence. You deserve true peace and unconditional love, not a constant emotional battle designed to diminish your light. I truly hope this deep dive has helped illuminate the shadows these tactics cast. If this video resonated with you, if you found yourself nodding along or finally understanding those confusing dynamics, please smash that like button. Let me know in the comments which of these 5 games felt the most familiar to your experience. Sharing your stories helps everyone realize they aren't alone. And most importantly, if you want more tools and resources to navigate toxic relationships and reclaim your life, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Share this video with anyone you think might need to hear this message, because breaking free starts with understanding the game. You are stronger than you think, and I am here for you every step of the way. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.